Welcome, everyone, to the Sonoma Spiel. My name is Tim with the Sonoma Valley Visitors Bureau. There's a saying, in matters of style, swim with the current. In matters of principle, stand like a rock. It's often attributed to a lot of different people. I don't know who said it. As far as I know, I just said it because it's now on the internet. Therefore, Tim's Honor said it. The reason why I bring this up is for a long time I have struggled, dear listener, with the curse of the khakis and the slouchy polos, and basically my look, which often involves cargo shorts and New Balance tennis shoes, which I have been told is a stunning look by no one. And I know someone who knows a lot more about style and fashion and can help us understand how to find your style. I'm going to talk a bit about wine country style and wine country fashion, especially hopefully as it pertains to men who are dapper and good looking, for those of you that are listening and not watching. Therefore, this is true. I'm going to introduce my friend. I've known her for quite a while, actually. And in spite of that, she still talks to me. It's Malia Anderson. Malia, how are you doing?
I am great. I'm wonderful.
Good. And I did threaten to wear jorts.
And I told you that if you wore jorts today, that would be all the episode was about.
Just be making fun of the jorts, which, again, I would just like to point out, though, jeans and shorts. It's like the combination, because jeans are rugged, right?
Yes.
And then they're practical.
Yep.
But sometimes it's hot.
Yes.
And you want to show off your knobby knees. And how to accomplish that? But the jort, you cut them off mid-thigh. Sometimes you can hem them. Sometimes you don't have to. And then to accent them with the New Balance white shoes.
If you are 15, you can cut off your shorts.
I gotcha.
If you are a college girl pledging a sorority, you can cut off your shorts. If you are over 25 and have a real job, you should not.
You should not be cutting off your shorts. Okay, that's the cutoff, as it were.
Yes.
Yes, 25. All right, so tell me, what is your business, and how do you know about style, stuff like that?
My business is Style by Malia Anderson. I am a wardrobe stylist.
Okay.
And I've been in the fashion business. I counted the other day. It'll be 30 years.
Wow.
Next year
that
I've been in the fashion industry. And I work with individuals to help them get dressed in a way that makes so they show up for themselves, so that they are, they look their best, they feel their best, they feel their most confident. And clothes are the tool that I use to inspire confidence. But the real work I do is to make sure that people feel and look as good as possible. So I run a full service wardrobe styling firm, and I speak pre-pandemic, I spoke all over the country about personal style as well as confidence, and, turning something that is a hobby into a career. Okay. My career is I get to spend other people's money and go shopping. On
something that you enjoy, I'm assuming.
Yes.
That's how you got into the business. You said a whole bunch there. I'm going to start from the very beginning then. You said you've been doing this for 30 years. You're 32 years old, 35 years old.
Yes.
How did you get into this?
I grew up in San Francisco. And so kind of the funny story is I went to a high school. I went to George Washington High School. Okay. And our high school had a catering company within it. So home economics was something I was really, really into. I'm still really into home economics, or to baking. And this was in the 90s, before Food Network, before the internet. I'm that old, before the internet.
So slightly older than 35, I'll say.
Slightly, just a little bit.
Right.
And so I wanted to study culinary arts and baking. So I went to college fair, and the college fair was like, oh yes, if you want to study baking, you have to study the business of baking. And those classes can start at like 3:30 in the morning, because if you're a baker, you have to bake bread and those kinds of things. And then I went to the next table, which was fashion merchandising, something I was also interested in, and those classes were at night.
Oh, gotcha.
So I am not a morning
So
person.
the one that lets you sleep in.
The one that lets me sleep in. And so I started studying fashion merchandising and image consulting, and with a concentration in my image consulting in like political and business, business people and political people. Image consulting is sort of a funny career. It's sort of a funny business that started because people get in trouble and they need to dress well to tell the world, you know, I'm not the person you think I am.
So it's more like a rehabilitation of the image.
Exactly. So that's kind of, I thought that was fun. Yeah. Then I started, I became a plus size model completely by accident in the 90s.
Wait, for like they would photograph you with clothing at like the Emporium or something like that, or
no? So by accident, I worked backstage at fashion shows in San Francisco. Loved it, and I was backstage at fashion shows, and they came back because the plus size model, the one plus size model they had, did not show up, and they were like, "What size are you?" I told them my size, and they're like, "Great, you're going on the runway." And I was like, "No. I am a behind the scenes."
This is during the actual show. This is the classic.
The show was like starting in like an hour.
Show must go on, lady.
And I was like, no, I'm a behind the scenes person. They're like, you are a tall black woman of size. You are going on the runway. And I walked my first runway, and I was like,
they just threw you out there.
Just threw me out there.
Did they have a bunch of people like do hair and makeup? Like they can like go.
Yeah, they just like slap stuff on me, and they were like, go walk.
And could you turn left? Did you figure it out?
I did.
Okay, good job.
I was a natural at it.
Really?
And I became a plus size model. And then I started managing other plus size models and getting them into local fashion shows and local photo shoots, things like that. And then from there, started dressing people because people would come to me at fashion shows and are like, where'd you get that outfit? And I would tell them I got it at the mall, because where else would you?
Because that was back before Instagram, when you would write no
online shopping. You went to the mall. And women would say, no, I went to the mall. I didn't see that outfit. And I said, well, I'll take you to the mall and show you. And that's how my wardrobe styling.
You were like a field trip. You were like a safari guide to the mall.
Yep.
And these malls were in, was it up here in North Bay, or was it still in San Francisco area? Or all
in San Francisco. Okay. I grew up in San Francisco.
So you're still down there. Okay.
I just fell in love with fashion and fell in love with fashion shows and modeling, and thought that would be my career forever.
Right.
And was thriving at it. And then as all stories go, I met a boy. Who lived in...
Enter love.
Who lived in Sonoma County.
For real. Your heart brought you north.
Yes.
All the way to the not so big city of Santa Rosa.
Right. When I first moved here, I called it the wilderness for like 2.5 years.
When we moved here, my son was 2, and we left Oakland and we moved up here, and he wanted to see the city because my wife used to take him into the city, go on take BART. Exciting, 2-year-old. So she goes, okay. So she takes him to downtown Santa Rosa, and he started crying. He goes, this isn't a city. And it is in its own right for Sonoma County.
Right.
It's, I think, 120,000 people, 130,000. It
is now what I would consider a mid-sized city.
It's a mid-sized city, but it's not a very large city. And where we are in Sonoma Valley, the largest city is the city of Sonoma, and that's like 9,000 people.
Right.
So we have quaint towns, villages, and hamlets. So yes, maybe it's a little different. So you ended up here, you chased love, and you're in Santa Rosa.
Right.
And did you continue the fashion thing there? Because I think when I met you, you were working for the newspaper. Yeah. So I feel like, are you like a Clark Kent Superman kind of thing here? What's going on?
No. So when I moved to Santa Rosa, I realized it was not the fashion mecca of the world. And that I had to change my career. And so I went into finance. And I worked for a financial institution and realized that I wanted to help people invest in themselves and not in their portfolios. So that wasn't something I wanted to do. And then I went into marketing.
Okay, that's probably how I met you.
Marketing was a very cool place for me. It also spoke to my background. Because image consulting is about public relations and PR. Totally. Yeah. So it spoke to my background. And I did that, and then I went to work for the newspaper, still in marketing, but in sales, because I don't know if you know this about me, I can sell anything.
I will say that it's really hard to get you to talk. That's one thing I've noticed
shy.
about you.
Yeah, so shy.
Right.
And I went into the newspaper business, and that's where you and I met.
Right.
And I was trying to figure it out, and I think it's been like 15 years ago.
I think it was because the Press Democrat Leadership Forum, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So there was this leadership forum.
We were the last class.
We were. We broke it. We destroyed it. And we would meet up, I can't remember, like once a month maybe, or once every 2 weeks, and we'd have different topics to discuss. And I really liked it.
I loved it.
It was a good introduction. Also, I'm not from here, so it was a quick way to understand where things are and where things are going and how we got here. And I met a lot of cool people.
Yeah.
And one of them, Dennis Rosati runs political campaigns now, and he's like from Kentucky or Virginia or something. So there's a lot of people who weren't from here,
Yes.
I think, joined that group.
A lot of
to understand
transplanted
it.
people to try to figure out
Right.
what Sonoma County was about.
And it was so long ago that hotel that where we used to meet at is gone.
Yes.
And is now apartments about to be
Yes.
reopened. So
Yes.
that's
So that was a long.
that was fun. So you did that, and then you left the newspaper and went back into your style, right?
Yeah, I started.
Okay.
I started in 2007. Blogging became kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And so I started a really funny blog about celebrity fashion and how much I hated celebrity fashion.
Okay.
And I did that, and people kept coming to me going, okay, but how are real people supposed
Thank
to
you.
dress?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so I started helping people. I started helping my friends. And in 2008, one of my friends was like, you should charge people for this. Not me, but other people. You should charge
And the friend's like,
for this.
I'm giving you some free marketing
Right.
advice. So yeah, okay. So,
And that's what I started doing.
so you just launched it in 2008. In the middle of a recession, you're like, let's do it.
Right.
This can only go up.
Right. And so I started doing it, and then I left the paper, not by my own choice, in 2011 and tried to find a job. Traveled all over the country trying to find a job in marketing, in sales. And at the time, my husband said, we're not those people. We didn't buy a house. We live in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom fixer-upper.
Right.
We have money in the bank. So you started this thing. You still have clients. You still have people. Why don't you just do this full time and see what happens?
Kind of supported you in that endeavor. Like, go for it.
Yeah, I gave myself 6 months. I
Okay.
gave myself a number and 6 months, and I made that number in like 2 months. And I was like, okay, well, that was a fluke. So I gave myself another number, and I made that number in like a month. And I was like, okay, one more time. If it works the third time, and I gave myself an outrageous number, and I made that number, and I was like, okay, I guess this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's what you're supposed to be doing. The universe spoke.
Yep.
And now here you are.
And here I am.
All right, so let's dive a little bit into this here because I know you often, when we meet, you give me the scan.
I don't try
You
to.
have thoughts, and I would describe for those of you that don't watch the show. And you did mention I do wear the same shirt. Actually, there's 2 shirts I wear.
Yeah.
And they alternate, and a sweater. But today I'm wearing a slightly large that needs to be fitted blazer, and it's sort of blue with it's got like cross marks and stuff on it or whatever.
That would be called a plaid.
Plaid. Thank you, plaid.
A Glen plaid, if you just...
Okay, so I have a plaid blazer on. I have a blue shirt, and I have pants on. And so, yeah, I'm kind of like the kind of person that doesn't think about style that much.
Right.
Right, as you know. And you helped.
As I've known for
as
15
you've known for
years.
15 years. Another friend of mine, Matt Avino, who's been on here, is also a similar sort of thing. How do you go about approaching somebody's style or fashion and helping them? Tell me how that process works.
So there are no rules of personal style.
Okay.
There are guidelines, and there is bad fashion, right?
Okay.
So personal style is just that. It's personal. My style doesn't necessarily match the next person's style. Your style doesn't. Never mind. Anywho,
My style is unique and endearing and timeless, and also available at Costco.
Yeah.
Because right there in the center, there's so many shirts. There's so many shirts at Costco. Do you know that? It's right next to the cream cheese and the corn dogs. So many shirts.
Let's just dive into the Costco clothing of it all.
Go for it.
When you buy all your clothes from Costco, on the first Saturday of the month, and you go in on the second Saturday of the month, and you see 15 men wearing the exact same Costco Dad look.
My brethren.
That's not how personal style works. That's not how any of this works.
No, that's not how it works?
No.
Like, you don't just, like, pick up your style when you're waiting for the tires to be rotated?
No.
Okay. Now, I'm starting to catch a little bit here.
So personal style is just that, personal. And it's personal, but it's supposed to reflect your body, your personality, your budget, your aspirations, your goals. It's supposed to reflect the best parts of you.
Okay.
And what tends to happen with people in personal style is they either follow everything they see online, they follow every trend,
Okay.
or they follow what their friends are wearing, even though those things don't always add up. They had a goal from childhood of what they wanted to look like, and they're still chasing that goal.
Okay.
Or they just sort of give up and go wherever the wind takes them.
Wherever the Costco cart goes.
Takes them, yeah.
That's a great point, because like I have never in my mind, as far as I know, like, people wanted to look a certain way at a certain age. Mm-hmm. Never thought of that in my life.
Oh my God, I've been chasing Dominique Devereaux my entire life.
Really?
Yes, I wanted to be on Dynasty.
Go to a cat fight in the pool? Was that Dynasty?
Yes.
Yes.
In an evening gown.
Okay, so by the way, side note, the Sonoma Botanical Garden, wonderful spot. They have the founder's house, okay? And it's the woman that owned the property, and she was really into that Dynasty look. It's a ranch house that she the gold stuff, like the brassy, the entire inside looks like a Dynasty interior, and they need to do a party themed for Dynasty. There's even a pool.
Absolutely.
And people can pay money to support the botanical garden to get in a cat fight in the pool. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it'd be so awesome.
I have spent my entire life
really chasing that. That was your vision board.
Yes,
as a
it's
10-year-old.
still my vision board. It's still I put the essence of Dominique Devereaux into my current
What were
wardrobe.
the other names? I got to go. All those names were like perfect Dynasty names.
I love it.
Dominique Devereaux.
Dominique Devereaux.
So that was where you wanted to be. And I must say, when you walked in here, for half a second, I'm like, am I in Dynasty?
I mean, it really is just, I describe my personal style as very classic.
Yeah.
Very, it's classic but not old. Mm-hmm. It's pretty but not hot.
Okay.
It is glamorous but not over the top. So I have these ideas of my personal style that I have pared down into my life, but they're still me.
Got it.
You know,
right.
I'm sitting here in a white leather jacket and gold jewelry because that's who I am. That's the practical glamour of my
it's not
wardrobe.
Ostentatious at all. You absolutely are.
I don't dress in costume.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Dress in costume.
We talk about our friend Matt, and I love Matt, and I told him I would talk about him.
Good.
But when I first started styling Matt, I had to de-costume his wardrobe because he's got a lot of personality and he's a creative and he spends a good amount of his time in Las Vegas, being a showman.
Yes.
And that's wonderful, but that's a lot.
Yes.
And so we had to
bring it back. And he literally owns a costume of a wine bottle.
Yes, he does.
One of his side gigs. And he came up here in a leotard.
Yes. Personality.
I don't know how often you've interviewed people in leotards.
Not very often, but I do know that the leotard does hang in Matt's closet.
Yeah, and he had
in the very, very
he had a Merlot, and then he also had a Chardonnay version, which I thought was really nice. That's very good thinking.
We love him.
I encourage it.
And, sometimes I look at he texted me today, and he's like, look at my outfit. And I was like, great. But he also texted me last week or a couple weeks ago of him wearing what I would only think of as like one of those Las Vegas hangover mob sweatsuits covered in tigers. And I was like, please don't tell people that Style by Malia did this to you.
No, I think it's actually a little bit of Matt's New Jersey coming out because that's where he grew up.
Yeah,
New
and
York, New Jersey,
he posted it, and I had to immediately write underneath, this is not
styled
by me. And
you're like, please don't tag me.
Yeah. And his dad was like, oh no, this is not a Style by Malia.
Exactly.
I was like, thank you. Don't do
funny.
that.
Okay, so on that, I did put out on the Facebook, people could ask questions because to ask you, I don't know much about fashion and style as you know, and so I often stumble on these things. So I did what everyone who's smart does is I asked other idiots on the internet for help.
Okay.
Because if you're connected to me on Facebook, you're probably an idiot on Facebook. So here's some questions I got. Can I read them to you?
Yep.
And you can help me with them? Okay.
I can help you.
One question we got is, should middle-aged men dress their age, like jorts and white New Balance sneakers, or maybe Dockers with a polo and a boat shoes? Or is it okay to follow the younger trends and wear baggy jeans, retro or vintage style clothes, and bold prints?
So, first of all, middle-aged does not mean that you are dead and that your fashion sense has to stop.
Okay.
You should not dress in an age space that you believe, I've reached my 40s, so therefore I have to dress this way.
Absolutely.
No.
Sans about slacks. No?
That's not a thing.
Okay.
What you need to evaluate is, what does my life look like? What does my day look like?
Okay.
What are the things I love to do? Are, jorts, the jorts are never the appropriate.
Never?
No.
What if there's a Corvette convention?
No. I go to car shows. I love car shows. Old cars and old men are two of my favorite things. However, I go to car shows and I'm just like, don't look at the cars. Just look at the cars. Don't.
The fashion show itself would be okay. So you're saying for middle-aged, yes.
So it shouldn't be about age.
Got it.
It should be about lifestyle. It should be about aspirations. It should be about your budget and your body.
Okay.
I don't think there is a rule on your personal style, but I do think that a lot of men have just given up on what is available to them.
Yeah.
They sort of walk into stores and go, I don't know how to navigate this.
Correct.
And it's all business suits or, sportswear. There's so much more available to you. Jeans have evolved.
Right.
So you
a lot of stretchiness in jeans now.
A lot of stretchiness in jeans.
Yeah.
And therefore people don't know how to wear them.
Oh, yeah.
Because jeans have stretch in them and they're generally 4-way stretch. So people get comfortable jeans when they buy them. They're like, oh, these are so comfortable. Well, in 4 hours, you've got diaper butt because your jeans have stretched out. So if you get jeans that are slightly uncomfortable, you got 2 days worth of wear out of them.
Did you say diaper butt?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a technical term.
You see it. Everybody sees it.
Here's the same another question then.
Mm-hmm.
This leads me to my next fashion question. Is it okay for older men to have long hair or should they be clean cut? By the way, these are from R. Montez, the Cloverdale lady killer.
Okay.
Yeah. So R. Montez. Long hair for older men.
So, okay, here's the rub on that.
Go.
You cannot have long hair in the back and no hair in the front.
Correct. So you cannot do the unintentional mullet. Yeah. Right.
So if you have great hair
and
you want it long, there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But long hair does not mean unkempt hair. So that's sort of the rub, right?
Okay.
Is you have long hair, but you're not taking care of it. You're not getting it cut. You still have to do maintenance to it.
You cannot look like you just came out of the wild.
Right.
Okay. Unless you just came out of the wild.
Unless you came out of the wild.
You're hiking the Appalachian Trail,
then
all is forgiven.
All is forgiven.
Good for you. That's a long hike. Okay. Another question. There are times when men have to be at least a little bit dressed up around here, but the weather is hot. It gets hot. Do you have tips on how to do that successfully? Like dress up, but in hot weather.
Have you never heard of linen?
Linen. What is that?
Linen's a thing.
And that's like the lightweight.
It's lightweight.
Is that a seersucker suit?
No, seersucker is a different fabric, but it's also lightweight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So linen is that lightweight.
It's a lightweight, breathable material.
Okay. And you wear that with Birkenstocks?
Sure. Sure.
Okay. Or you can dress it up.
Or you can dress it up.
Okay. Linen.
I think that fabrics are important.
Okay.
And again, within men's fashion, it is denim or nothing. And it's like, there's so many more things
Oh, no, you're right.
besides denim.
There's Carhartt. Okay.
You're trying to
Same question. Tell us about tailoring. What's worth having altered, and how can alterations make you look your best?
So generally what you should have altered are the things that, don't totally make the body look good. Remember, clothes are made in mass.
Okay.
There is nothing wrong with your body. The clothes are the problem. So as a 6 foot tall woman of size, clothes aren't necessary. I'm not the body that they're trying to dress.
They mass produce for an average.
Exactly,
right.
for an average body.
But no one has an actual average body because it's de facto.
So there are things that I have to have tailored just because they don't look that great for me. Okay. I have very long legs. So sometimes I have to have things lengthened or things shortened to kind of fit my body. Okay. I buy things in long, but sometimes long is too long. Okay. So I have to go in and have those things tailored.
Okay, let me ask you that. Where do you go for that stuff? Like, it used to be like you have alterations people all over the place. Mm-hmm. No one has a sewing machine anymore. Maybe you do. I don't know.
I don't. I can't sew a button on a pair of pants.
So do you guys all have this secret person that's a seamster?
No, there's alterations people all over the place.
They're like in strip malls hiding, but we don't know about them because
I
don't even think about them as a problem.
Yeah, you don't, because people don't use them regularly.
Right.
90% of dry cleaners have somebody who does alterations.
They know a guy
within the dry cleaners, but there are alterations people everywhere. Plus, there are like fashion designers or dressmakers or things like that also do alterations.
Oh, like the bridal shops or something. Mm-hmm. Okay. Same person. This is Jason G, the Sonoma OG. Mm-hmm. He also asked, where does vintage secondhand fit into an overall look, if at all, for men?
It fits into a look really nicely, but you have to pick pieces. So you build a wardrobe and then you accessorize it. You have to pick a cool this or...
You don't go 100%
You
retro.
do not go 100%.
Like I just walked in here from 1982 and Pac-Man is huge.
No, because then that's a costume.
Good call. And we mentioned before we started, but there's a store called Trove here on the plaza, and they have vintage stuff.
They do. I was there the other day.
And they have vinyl as well and really cool stuff.
I was there the other day. They have a Gucci bag that I'm really thinking about.
I do take exception to when my daughter wanted to go to the vintage stores. Like there's one in downtown Santa Rosa. Mm-hmm. That's all clothes I wore in high school. Mm-hmm. And she's like, this is cool old stuff. I'm like, honey, this is not old. I still have this stuff. Granted, for 125 pound me. And like she thought it was just really cool retro stuff.
I mean, if I knew today, if I could go back to my 18, 19-year-old self, knowing what I know now, I would not have gotten rid of half the handbags I owned. Because those things are, I mean, I saw a bucket bag the other day and I was like, I carried one of those in the 90s and now they're back. And
Called a bucket bag?
Yeah, it's just a big round bag. And I'm not going to pay for it again.
Wait, how many bags do you have? Are you one of those people that collects bags?
I do.
Okay.
Probably.
More than 3? More than 5? Hold on. More than 10?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I probably have more than 10 in my car.
All right, good to know.
Yeah.
Bags are a thing. Here's one from Jose L. He's the fashion don of the Springs. He asks, what are some wine country style no-nos?
Wine country style. Okay, so do you want the nice answer or the real answer?
Go. Jose can handle it. He's a strong guy.
So here's the thing. Wine country style does not exist.
Wait.
It's not a thing.
One more time.
Wine country style does not exist. It is a construct invented by 2 groups of people.
Who?
Okay. So the first group is farmers who don't like to get dressed up.
Okay.
But their wives like to go to fancy places. So they took dark wash jeans and they're like, but I'm going to put on a jacket and now I'm wine country.
Yeah, wine country style.
Yeah. Or people who own second homes or come here for vacation who are like, there's no nightlife in Sonoma County. So we don't have to get dressed up, but we have to get dressed for a fancy dinner.
Right.
And then they go,
Right.
like it's like Miami and LA had a casual baby. It's not a real thing. And I wish people, this is why our favorite gala events in this town are diamonds and denim. It's not right. It's not okay. But the polite answer to that is wine country style is ever evolving.
Okay.
And you can wear things in the wine country you can't wear anywhere else.
Okay.
As long as it's clean and well put together, and you feel comfortable.
I like that. Well, you went off. But I'm going to argue this. Stiletto heels, I mean, yes, you can wear them, but there's not as much pavement as there is in an actual city. No. So when you go out to Glen Ellen or Kenwood or Cazadero, you're probably not wearing those heels very far. So we could say that's not, part of wine country style per se. Unless you're
not necessarily, but I mean, I know people who come here, and I dress people for all kinds of things. I dress women for weddings all the time. And one of the things that I do when I dress people for weddings is I say, please send me the invitation so I can see where the wedding is.
Yeah.
So that I can research, because if they're getting married, if their ceremony is outside in a winery, those shoes are not going to work.
Correct. So okay, that's the biggest thing. When I see, it's usually young women wearing ankle breakers. And like the second you step off that patio, you're going to be in the ER.
And you're going to ruin your very expensive shoes, because now they're sinking into... Yeah.
I will blame those tourism marketers, those wily SOBs, for putting lots of photos of people in really beautiful clothing in the middle of a row of grapes.
Yep.
Ohio doesn't do that with soybeans. Ohio, keeping it real.
People tromping through the mustard. Nobody dilly-dallies through the... Like, stop it. Like, put real people doing real stuff.
Hold on. Mustard Girl is a real thing, and just like the Swallows returning to San Juan Capistrano, Mustard Girl appears in Sonoma Valley any day now. We're going to see Mustard Girl. We eagerly await.
But
you're absolutely right.
But nobody's frolicking through the mustard
unless you really have a lot of nasal spray, and you're like Zyrtec beyond the wazoo. Yes. It is not that fun.
No,
it's beautiful from afar.
Yes.
Does Mustard Girl have a male corollary? We were trying to talk about this. Like, is there what is it? That's the problem with men's fashion.
Yeah.
Someone else asked, Tiffany P., she's the credit union queen and a big foodie, what exactly is wine country casual, as we discussed? But it's denim.
No. It's denim, it's linen,
go ahead.
It's not my favorite.
But someone once explained to me that it's going to a barn that doesn't smell like horse crap.
Right.
Because it's a clean barn.
We're farmers. We're an ag community, but we don't grow potatoes.
No, you're right.
So it's like, we're going to go visit, this place that grows wine. And I did a photo shoot one time, and they sent a camera crew or a photo crew down from like Canada to do this photo shoot. And they were trying to put my client in like overalls and a cowboy hat. And I was like, we don't grow potatoes here. We are wine farmers. We got some eggs and some milk, but we don't wear cowboy hats out here. Right. What are we doing? And the photographer was so mad, and I think I got kicked off that set.
Oh, you did?
But I just don't.
You're right. So the style is different than like a Texas rancher usually, or a potato farmer. Nothing wrong. Idaho, if you want to sponsor this podcast, you can talk to us. Or maybe you can go to Boise and style that. But you're right. There is a definite look. It's kind of hard to define, but here's maybe how it is. It's comfortable. It's stylish, but not fashion-y. Is that right? Like you can have your little flair, but it's not all rhinestone cowboys and stuff like that, right? No.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a guy, I was at the wine auction, and he's on that Shark Tank show, and I won't say his name, but he's Canadian, and it's Kevin O'Leary, and he was wearing this denim outfit, and I'm like, what in God's name is going on here?
You can always tell people who are not from here.
That's true. But you're always welcome. Okay.
Always welcome. Please come to Sonoma County. Come to Sonoma Valley.
Here's one from a woman who she's a very smart lady. She says, I'm trying to transition from work from home wardrobe and just starting to get back to more regular professional look. I'm at a loss on modern looks for the sharp dressed gal these days. Where does one even start? That's from Meredith R., master of the tax tables.
It's funny. I saw that question yesterday, and I immediately texted Meredith, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Well, because you work from home.
Well, and
we got
in the pandemic, people got into this idea that you only had to dress from the top up, and so
you're wearing pants now too?
I do. I wear pants almost every single day.
I cannot get up from this table.
Occasionally, I wear a skirt or a dress.
Fancy pants. Or just fancy skirt.
Yeah.
Right.
But we got very casual post-pandemic, and we sort of started buying things that were kind of like, oh, I can wear these pull-on pants with this cute top, and it got lazy. And so now people are going back into the workplace, getting dressed, and they're sort of like, I still want it to be comfortable, but I don't know what to do with it. And so I always tell people, start with the most simplest thing. Whatever the simple thing is for you, start there, and then we build upon that. Okay. For women, generally, the simplest thing is a dress or a jumpsuit because it's just one piece. For men, it tends to be pants. You start with a pair of pants, and then we...
Just wear gray pants all the time.
Stop. So we start with pants, and then we build from there.
Tan.
Stop.
Yeah, those khaki.
This show is only 50 minutes long, and you're gonna make me lose.
We can go longer. I'm gonna see you just
my mind.
Destroy. Yeah. Do you shop for any men in your life? Is that like a thing you do, or do you I can't? It's too close. The cobbler's kids have no shoes, or are like everyone that's close to you. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I don't smile when I see a dentist. 'Cause I'm like I don't want or an orthodontist.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I want the people in my life to feel loved, not judged.
Good.
So unless they ask me for help, I tend not to run into it. But I will tell you, the number one thing that people do when they find out what I do for a living is, I'm Malia Anderson, I'm a wardrobe stylist, and they immediately go, oh my God, don't look at my outfit.
Right.
Now I'm obligated. I am fully engaged into
I have sensed weakness. It's like the therapist when they ask you how you're doing and you take too long to respond.
Exactly. So now I'm fully engaged in your outfit. I have to deconstruct it. I have to figure out what I'm doing with it. I have to change it in my mind. But I don't speak that to you. I don't tell you that unless you ask.
It's like you're like a vampire. It has to be invited in.
Right. I don't. But I will say that, when I married my husband, he wore a kilt for our wedding.
Is he Scottish?
He is.
Oh, okay.
And so, of Scottish heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he wore a kilt for our wedding. He hasn't stopped wearing kilts. He hates tuxedos. So, for every, important dress-up black tie thing, he wears a kilt.
Love it.
And people are like, oh my God, that's so interesting. It's so different. It's part of the fact that he just hates tuxedos. He thinks they're boring. He thinks people all look alike. And he, it was interesting to him, so that's what he wore. That said, he also wears shirts from Costco. But I love him, so I don't...
we overlook that.
I look past it.
Good.
But he knows that I will not go to Costco with him.
Got it. Because he'll come back with a bunch of wardrobes.
No, because people will look like him, and I will lose him.
I got you.
In the sea of men wearing Costco.
The perfect camouflage.
Yeah.
Where does one buy a kilt?
So the kilt is actually the most expensive item of clothing in my house.
Okay.
It came from Scotland.
Okay, it's legit.
And it is extremely heavy.
Oh.
And I think I paid $700 for it.
Wow, okay.
It is handmade, and I bought it for him as a wedding present 22 years ago.
That's great.
But yeah, it's the most expensive item of clothing in my house.
If I was going to go to Scotland, I would either bring home a kilt, a haggis, or scotch. But I don't think you could enter back into the country with haggis.
Right. So I would just get the kilt.
Just get the kilt.
It would at least be interesting.
It would be interesting.
Yeah.
Also, it's awkward to show up to parties wearing a haggis.
Yeah.
But if you wear a kilt...
But if you bring scotch, that's okay.
Then you're into something. So let's talk briefly. Shopping. A lot of people go on vacation. They travel. They like to buy something to kind of remember the trip, or they find some different clothing or something like that. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you do?
No.
It's not because you're you know where to go.
Well, yeah. So when I go on vacation, my wardrobe. So this is the funny part about my wardrobe. When I go on vacation, and as a plus size woman, I've never worn a one piece swimsuit. I've always worn a bikini. Okay. That's just, I'm 6 feet tall. Yeah. One piece swimsuits to me get very personal, and I don't like it. Okay. So I've always worn a 2-piece swimsuit, and people always say to me, you know, oh, what are those people on vacation? I don't know those people. Those people don't pay my bills. I don't know them. I'm never going to see them again. So my wardrobe tends to get freer and a bit more dramatic.
The further away
I am from home. Gotcha. So I don't tend to buy clothes when I'm on vacation. I tend to buy clothes that I maybe, not that I wouldn't wear here, but that I can get, something that might be a little sexier or a little racier, right. That I tend to wear shorts on vacation. Okay. I don't particularly love shorts, but in Mexico, why not? On vacation. But yeah, I don't tend to buy clothes on vacation.
We do it's interesting because we have a couple shops here, clothing shops, but one of the shops that sees a lot of travelers is Large Leather. And it is kind of counterintuitive because it's actually a tiny store run by a smaller woman of stature, a Dutch lady, very nice woman. And she listens. Hi, Jessica. But she says she sells a lot of belts and belt buckles. And the cool thing, those go with a lot of stuff. Yep. Right. So she has a lot of regulars, but also people come. And I didn't know this belt buckles are a big business. Like really big, like purses for you. Like some people are really into belt buckles, right. And she makes all these beautiful leather belts. She doesn't make the belt buckles; she buys those, and people come and buy them all the time because she hand makes her belts and stuff. Right. So that's
I'm actually going there today.
It's a great spot. It is. It's so fun. It's called Large Leather because again, it is. You put your hands out from both sides. You touch everything. Jessica comes out from the back. She's probably 5 foot. Maybe. And she's just like so nice and so lovely. And
I have to have some belts made.
Oh, she'll make belts. Yeah. And also like any man that walks in there, she's like, boom, this is your belt. Boom, boom, boom. She, she's got that eye. We do have another store called Bossa Nova. It is a woman's store. I don't know much about women's fashion. I barely know men's fashion, clearly. Right. But the owner, she tells me how she goes to like different shows to pick up the clothing. And you essentially have to like buy your order like a year in advance. Yep. And then kind of know what's going to hit or not. Yes. And that's like a gamble, right? Like,
it is, but if you, as a person who studied fashion merchandising, I can see trends. Her store is very cute, and she has a lot. She's very knowledgeable. I can see trends. I can read trend reports. I know kind of what's coming. The only time that it doesn't work was like in the pandemic. We lost 2 seasons of clothing. Oh, right. So the trends didn't make sense because people weren't going outside. But you kind of know what's going to sell, and designers know. But it is a gamble. You might buy something that you think is amazing. It's going to sell, and not one person buys it.
And then you've got to discount it at the end of the year.
Then it's on sale. Yeah.
And you might not make...
you still might not make the money.
And then you got to pay the rent. Well, that's not good.
So sometimes clothing is fickle.
Yeah, that's a hard one. We do have, I was going to send this to you, we have a neat little thing here called the Resale Trail in Sonoma Valley. It's kind of like thrift and consignment.
Lots of consignment stores.
Yeah, and some of it is, thrift in the classic sense, and some of it's consignment, like here's this beautiful gown that could be for the Dynasty fundraiser. Do you buy consignment stuff? Is that your thing?
It's not my thing personally. I go into thrift and consignment stores, and I'm generally buying handbags or jewelry. Okay. I'm very into I like large rings. I like cocktail rings. I like brooches, things like that. Okay. So I go into consignment stores looking for jewelry.
What's a cocktail ring? Sorry.
A cocktail ring is generally a large ring with a stone of some sort or something, some sort of.
So super blingy. It's like it stands out.
Yeah, it's something that stands out. It's an evening piece of jewelry. So I go in for things like that. Occasionally, I'll go into a consignment store and see something that just kind of catches my eye. Right. I do a lot of consignment store stuff for jewelry, handbags, shoes occasionally for clients because I'm looking for something specific.
Is that a good way to get stuff?
Yes, but you have to be very strategic. You cannot build a wardrobe in a consignment store. You have to. So when you're building a wardrobe, it needs a foundation. So it's just like a skeleton. It needs bones. That is where your basics come from. That is where your hardworking portions of your wardrobe come from. Then it needs skin. That's the fun stuff that you get to do within, pulling together clothes. When you combine those things, you have muscle, and you get to build a strong wardrobe. So, yeah.
I feel like I got like a fashion and a biology lesson at the same time there.
Listen,
that's good.
This conversation, this is free.
Next one's going to cost you.
Next one's going to cost you.
Let me show you one more thing we got before we get on to the visitor questions. There's a thing called trash and fashion.
I know,
here.
and I love
you trash and fashion. Trash and fashion. It's at the Sonoma Community Center.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know we had so much talent here of people who could sew and glue and stitch and serge and whatever. All these amazing outfits made out of like corks or wire or plastic bags. And the whole idea was like to show off, reusing stuff, but also their creativity. Yeah. It's great.
I mean, fashion sustainability is the number one problem with fashion, and it is the number one problem within my industry because fast fashion is, a multi-billion-dollar a year business, but it's also kind of not the highest quality, so it doesn't last as long.
It's kind of wasteful.
It's wasteful. I mean, our landfills are filled with things that people just sort of get rid of. So sustainability is very important. So I've always loved this this show and this concept because it's like you're using things that people would, maybe just throw away and turning it into something different.
It's amazing. And a guy named Eric Jackson, he used to run the Sonoma Community Center's Fiber Arts Studio, and he's coming back. And it's really cool to watch because he's really good at that stuff. He was like a theater guy, a theater, costumer or whatever. It is. Yeah. I love that show. So it's coming up at the Sonoma Community Center, and I'm glad you're going to be there because they're always like,
that's my plan.
It's good. And we have one of their mannequins is in our visitor center. She's wearing all corky. She's beautiful. And there's a bunch of them around the valley. They take the winning dresses and costumes and they put them up. It is kind of terrifying late at night when you're leaving the office and there's this woman. Mannequins are kind of creepy, but it was cool. So before we get to the next thing, I'm assuming if people have already listened, they're like, I need to hire this lady or find more information or get the old fit of the day.
Right.
How do they find you? Website, Instagram, etc. Go.
Everything is Style by Malia.
That was easy.
That was easy. If Oprah could name things after herself, so can Malia.
You? But here's my question. Malia Obama tries to start her own style line. She's out of luck. You've got the URL.
Yeah.
She's got to come work for you.
I'm still Malia Anderson. I still was Malia before her.
I'm going to give a little shout out to Malia Obama. I got the original Malia here. So
there you go.
So if you want to work for this other style, go for it. Okay. You know what's happening next, right? Do you know what we do here? You've been warned? So here's how it works. We have 2 visitor centers. People call us, text us. They ask us all sorts of questions. I have an amazing staff of volunteers who come and answer questions for people. And I have professional staff, right? So you're going to help me. I'm going to deputize you. This segment is called We Get Questions. You got this.
All right.
Okay. First question we got. I'm arriving at Sonoma County Airport, Charles M. Schultz, STS, and would like to get to the city of Sonoma. What are some good ways to do that?
Are you driving?
That's one way.
That would be the easiest.
The easiest way to rent a car.
Is to rent a car and just...
Because as you mentioned, we are slightly rural. We're not like Oakland or San Francisco, which also have airports, but they have like trains right to the airport that leave there. So we are slightly more rural if you go into that Sonoma County Airport. So yeah, you can drive, rent a car.
Rent a car. I think you can take Smart to a certain portion and then
go with it. Yes. So you in your mind.
Yeah.
Smart train, Sonoma Marin Regional Train.
Right.
There's a free shuttle from the airport to the airport station, and then you get off on Petaluma, and then take the bus from Petaluma to Sonoma.
Yes.
And I would like more connections from Petaluma. It doesn't happen as much as I'd like it, but you can definitely do that connection. So that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Good. You can Uber.
You can Uber.
I wonder if you order Uber Eats and then you just hop in the Uber Eats.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't?
No.
You don't get lunch while you go? Okay. I thought I just
The best thing to do is, to sucker a friend to pick you up from the airport and drive you over.
Boom. That's one way to do it. And there's also a bus. I think it is the 60 bus will take you to Santa Rosa and then you transfer to the 32. I'm mixing up the numbers right now, but you could basically take the bus to the downtown Santa Rosa bus station and then transfer to the Sonoma Valley bus. So you could absolutely do that. And if you're super adventurous, you could take a bike, but not recommended.
That's a far ride.
It's a far ride and not always the safest. So, okay, that's good. That was easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. I'm staying near the Sonoma Plaza and looking for wineries that are nearby.
Walk outside. Walk out the door.
Yes.
Turn left, turn right.
This was a good question. It was, because I was like, you are literally near all the wineries. I had a couple weeks ago, Paul Justo from Highway 12 Winery. He is literally, to your point, you could walk out the hotel and turn left and you're in his winery right there. There are so many tasting rooms in the plaza and then around the plaza, there are so many. And if you want to go to an actual winery versus just a tasting room, San Giacomo Family Vineyards, Buena Vista, I'm blanking. There's so many that that's the problem. There's too many. Sebastiani. There's so many.
What's the one with the football players?
Three Fat Guys.
Three Fat Guys.
Yeah. Tony Mall and the Three Fat Guys right there. That's on the way, right? So it's right there. Yeah.
His brother works in the same building as me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, there you go. Well, it's a small world. It is Sonoma.
It's a small town.
It is hell is a small town.
It's the wilderness.
Here's another question we got. I hear that roundabouts are popular in Sonoma.
Sorry, did my face make a face?
Where's the next one going to be? This was kind of hard.
Is the Windsor one done?
That one's done. Yeah.
Okay. So is Sonoma getting one?
There's one south of town here at an area called Bonneau. It's got many different names, but it's the one where the like 121, 116 or whatever, they all used to smash together, and you would just wait for like a mile and a half and a stop sign. It became a roundabout, and it's halfway done, but they're still working on it. But here's the fun part. Are you ready?
Yeah.
They want to put art near the roundabout, and you know how Sonoma loves to agree on things.
Yeah.
We're going to have a public meeting soon to discuss the art on the roundabout. And I'm sure the opinions are going to be measured, well-tempered, and evenly distributed.
I'm going to leave that to Sonoma Valley because my face
it's so blank.
says it all.
Yeah, actually, but I'm very pro-roundabout. I can tell you this. When they put that one in, no, they're great. Okay, here's the deal. You only turn one direction. They're very easy to use once you learn how to use them.
Right, but that's the problem.
No,
most people don't know how to use them.
No, here's the deal. You and I are showing our age because when we learned how to drive, you learn the whole thing, and they would say roundabouts. Like, well, don't worry about that because that's really only in Europe, and you'll never go to Europe.
Exactly, and we saw that movie where they just go in a
circles.
Circle.
Now they're everywhere. Like they're everywhere, and my kids they learned about it in their driver's training, so my kids have no problem with it. At all.
You have to realize that I took driver's training in San Francisco, California.
That's right.
I know about hills. I know how to park a car. I know.
Do you know how to curb your tires?
Yes, I know all those things. Roundabouts are not.
Well, they won't work. Okay, in San Francisco, you're right. If you were coming down Scott Street,
we have a couple of them.
You do?
Oh yeah.
There are a couple of hills in San Francisco. I've gone grocery shopping in San Francisco. Parked my car. Opened the door and a cantaloupe just went straight down. I'm like, if that cantaloupe's gone.
Yeah.
Like I should have known better.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. You learned to drive in San Francisco?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Good for you.
It's crazy.
Which is funny because in San Francisco you don't even need to drive that much.
I didn't drive. I didn't buy a car until I lived here.
Because how'd you get to high school? Did you walk or take the bus?
Bus.
Yeah, Muni or whatever. Yeah. See, life was easy back then.
That was one of the things. I lived here for about a week and I had to buy a car because public transit didn't work.
It's
here.
not. It works in certain parts, very small. The smart train is very convenient now.
Yeah,
and that's just in the past 5 years. Yeah. Certain towns have, like we have here in Sonoma, we have two buses called the Sonoma Shuttle. To keep it complicated, we have one the north and one's the south loop, but the north loop heads north and then goes back. So it's actually heading south, but it still says north on it. We're working on that. But you can get around Sonoma Valley for free on those shuttles very easily. but not all places.
Do you know that originally, if you look at like original BART maps, BART was supposed to come to Sonoma County?
Yes. Don't get me started.
That makes me sad.
I grew up in San Jose. We were supposed to have BART.
Years ago.
And now, when they're trying to bring it in there, it's like $1 billion per mile. But back in like 1965, when it was prune orchards,
Yeah.
and guys talking about silicone chips, and it was like, what are silicone chips? Yeah, crazy times.
Crazy.
What could have been?
What could have been?
And you know what? That's that just kind of brings us back to like some things change, they come back again. It's style, it's fashion. You've answered all the questions correctly. You did it. That wasn't hard, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here's a question someone asked me. Should I wear black and blue together, or do I look like a bruise? Because someone told me that once.
All colors go together.
Thank you.
If you can get the tones right. But yeah, black and blue together is not something that you can't wear.
Thank you. I would like to go back in time to that girl in college and told me that.
That was more about you, Tim, than about the colors. I can only imagine what that outfit looks like.
You don't want to. Malia, before we go, give me the website and all the information again if people want to contact you.
Stylebymalia.com.
Stylebymalia.com is where you can find all your merchandise for rhinestone cowboys. No, that's not it. It's where you get tips on how to look great and find your style.
Yep.
Okay. After you do that and you book a consultation with Malia, or you come up here and you want to know what to do, after you do that, I want you to go to cinemavalley.com for deals, special offers, and events. Malia, thanks for coming along.
Anytime.
It is great to see you. And I'm going to turn off the cameras before I stand up so no one can see what I'm wearing and your facial reaction, okay?
I'm going to look down as you turn off the cameras.
All right, Mom and Dad, thanks for listening. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.